Hi, good evening and welcome to the Frugal Technology Show. I'm your host, Bruce Naylor, and we're here every week to talk tech and especially how to save money or make money with technology. And how many times have you felt your computer is getting a little slow, little long in the tooth, it's time to get rid of it, time to get a new one, and you just look at that old machine and say, well, it's time for the landfill for you. There are some actual great things you can do with an older computer that can prolong its life, keep it in service, and continue to make money for you. And that's what the subject of tonight's show is, talking about saving money with older computers. And the first thing to realize is that companies spend billions of dollars, or I should say waste billions of dollars a year just throwing out perfectly good computers to be landfilled and disposed of. And that just doesn't make real good sense if the computers can still be used to make money for your business. Now, using a computer, the correct computer to accomplish the tasks that you want to do is key here. But for many, many businesses, the everyday use of a computer is some of the basic stuff. That's email, web browsing, maybe creating documents in Word or another word processing program. Fairly light duty stuff. You really don't need a 400 horsepower car to go just to the grocery store. And many computers today are way more overpowered than what you really utilize on the things. So there's a lot of life left in those old machines. Also, computers, when they're sent to a landfill, are just chock full of dangerous materials, metals in them. We're talking things like mercury, lead, cadmium, beryllium. There's a whole lot of this witch's brew of stuff that goes into making electronics, and then to put those in a landfill where there's leakage and can get into the soil. Look, there's a lot better ways to save money or make money with those used computers than just throwing them away. And that's what like I said, we're here to talk about tonight. And one of the things that people, and especially small business owners, have to realize is old computers don't run more slowly the more they age. They don't slow down. You don't lose gigahertz on the processor just because it's a year or two old. You might get a little degradation with the hard drive as far as the RPMs, but very, very negligible. The motherboard doesn't run any slower. The fact is that computer is going to run pretty much the same speeds as the day you bought it. But what has happened to it, more than likely, a lot of applications have gotten installed, maybe a lot of what I call crapware, just all kinds of stuff over the years, and the operating system, that is the software that actually you work with every day on moving files and all that sort of thing, has gotten itself congested with lots of junk. And the best thing to do in that case is probably to wipe the machine clean, reinstall the operating system and the applications, and you'll find that computer runs pretty much as snappy as the day you bought it. Now, that being said, of course, to more modern applications, depending how old the computer is and the kind of processor that's in it, maybe some of the new applications like Office 2007 might be a bit too heavyweight for an older machine. But it depends on your tasks. You may find that an older version of Office runs just fine on it and may suit your purposes very, very well. There's also various distributions of Linux that would really run very, very peppy on an older machine, and we're talking Pentium 4 chips, 512 megs of memory, and maybe a 30 to 60 gigabyte hard drive. There's a lot of life in that machine. You can do a lot of things with Linux. You can there's very good Office clone, as OpenOffice makes it. There's Firefox for Linux. There's email client that will work with Exchange. So there's a lot of cool stuff out there in the Linux world that you can put on these older computers, and it saves you a heck of a lot of money. Everything is pretty much task-centric, in my opinion. You buy the right amount of machine to do the job. I'll give you an example. You can pick up used computers, that's basically Pentium 4s, or maybe the old Pentium D machines, in pretty good shape for starting at a couple $100. More current technology is going to be starting in a range of about $600. That's a far cry from $1,500 to $2,000 for a new computer. And if you're just doing things, like I said, you're checking email, you're browsing the web, you're creating maybe an occasional document in Word, that sort of thing, then that's going to be plenty of computer to get the job done. There's no need to go out to to the Dells and HPs and all these guys and start buying brand new computers, when a $200 to $400 computer will do the job quite nicely. There's also some other things that you can do. Very interestingly, you can use older machines. I'm talking down to Pentium 3 level machines, and gosh, how far back do those go? Use them as what's called a thin client. And if you haven't heard of thin client computing, essentially it's like the really old days when there used to be mainframes and people had terminals. You didn't really have the computer on your desk. What you had was a display of the mainframe, and you had a keyboard that talked to the mainframe. Well, thin client computing works pretty much the same way. You're actually using software and desktop on a remote server as opposed to the local machine. So all that old computer is really doing is just working to display this stuff, and that's a very inexpensive way to rehabilitate and to use old computers. It can save you a whole lot of money, a whole lot of expense on those. So you don't even have to buy any software other than an operating system to get it to boot in order to use it as a thin client. And if you use some of the Linux server stuff, you don't even have to buy any special licenses or anything like that. Microsoft has what's called terminal services. There's Citrix, there's some other stuff out there. But you can set up a whole room of $200 to $300 thin client computers out there, 10 of those for the price of a relatively good workstation. And when you're doing a small business and you're getting started, money's tight. Money's real tight. There's no reason necessary to buy somebody a computer with state-of-the-art multimedia stuff and gazillion gigabytes of memory and hard drives the size of Montana if you're just doing your basic spreadsheets and creating presentations and doing email stuff like that. And so some of these older machines can really fill the bill for you and save your company a whole lot of money.